Thanks, Steve. All right, perfect. So my name is Chris George, and I head up product marketing at Pop Sugar. That encompasses the bakery, which is our in-house content studio for brands, as well as our product teams. For those not familiar, Pop Sugar is a media and technology company reaching over 100 million women around the globe each month. And we cater to these women across multiple passion points: fashion, food, fitness, parenting, and so on. One of the ways that we cater to them is through shopping. Our audience loves to shop. They're very familiar with online shopping. And today I'm going to talk about some of our background and what we've learned along the way in developing a content and commerce business. So our founders are a husband and wife team. Lisa Sugar started Pop Sugar as a blog in 2005, and she's now grown it to this very influential media brand. And her husband, Brian Sugar, is our CEO and lead engineer. And Brian's background is in e-commerce. So you can see that just at the very tip top of the company, content and commerce is really a part of our DNA. There's two assets that we've had within Pop Sugar that have really helped us drive our learnings forward at a pretty rapid pace. And the one on the left is ShopStyle. So ShopStyle is a fashion search engine that last year influenced over $1 billion in retail sales. Earlier this year, we actually sold ShopStyle to another company, and they're now a strategic partner of ours. With ShopStyle, we've been able to take advantage of a very robust product API. They have millions and millions of products across thousands of retailers, and have been able to use that API to really integrate products into the content experience that our Pop Sugar editors are creating. And I'll show you some examples of those. The second is our must-have business. This is a subscription box that goes out to 25,000 paying subscribers. They receive this box every month. They pay us $40 a month, and they get $100 worth of value at least in each box. So with must-have, we have this advertiser who's in-house who lets us play with them really to understand different ways of converting and driving acquisition. So with ShopStyle and must-have, as a publisher, we have this really interesting sort of commerce-driven conversation that's always happening across the company. So we think there's a big opportunity for publishers within content and commerce. The challenge here is that technology is only getting better, right? It's getting easier and easier for people to shop, but the challenge for publishers, from what we've seen, is their ability to focus on it. Most publishers, if you look at what their technology roadmap is focused on or their business teams are focused on, it's very much focused on the content side of the business and driving ad sales revenue. So there's sort of this missed opportunity that people aren't always jumping on. But if you can focus there, then there are ways to take advantage of some great benefits. So benefits of content and commerce, aside from having this great story to tell in the marketplace with advertisers and getting them involved, are one, driving these impulse purchases. There's a lot of influential publishers in the room who have the ability to drive consumers through to purchase, and in very easy ways to do that. When a user has a great experience, they discover an awesome product on your site, they're more likely going to be coming back again and again and again to your site. So you're building this sort of trust and affinity with the audience. And then lastly, I don't know of any publisher who's not in the market for a new revenue stream right now. So the opportunity here really is to focus on how you can efficiently connect content and commerce. And when I say efficient, I mean that from the consumer's perspective. And what I'll show you in the following slides are some ways that we're really thinking about how we change the product and the way that we go about this to make it as easy as possible for the consumer to get from that piece of content and all the way down to the shopping cart. Okay, so a few best practice tips. The first one is that commerce-driven content can't be a side job. If you look at how we've organized our editorial operation, we have various teams. And the way that we used to work is that we would have all of the teams sort of in the white shaded background. We would say, okay, it's time to put affiliate links into the articles that you're writing because we also want to make money on commerce, right? And so they had these sort of dual objectives of they needed to drive audience, but then, oh yeah, they on the side needed to drive commerce. More recently, we launched a shopping team, and that shopping team is dedicated to really just creating content about shopping. And when you think about the content stack, so we think about the different types of content that we create for our audience, they all have different KPIs, right? And these are all really unique muscles that people need to build and develop over time, and you're not going to get great at it unless you really focus, right? That's obvious. And so for us, with our shopping team, they have a KPI which is not visits or shares, it's GMV, which is gross merchant value. How much value are you sending to our retail partners? And you can see this in terms of some of the top PopSugar shop stories that I'll show you here. So I'll read some headlines here to give you a sense of the type of content this team is creating. The baby products we couldn't live without. So this is all about providing curation and convenience to a very, very busy mom audience. These 13 sweaters look so expensive, but they're all from Amazon and under $25. So these are headlines that are really like emphasizing a deal or this value that that our audience is going to want to jump on. I'm hopelessly addicted to my magnetic lashes. I can't read the rest, but this is about taking a trend and really trying to hook a user based off of a fashion trend, but then providing the products that you would need to buy to get that trend. And then the last one is the hottest toys for the holiday season, according to Walmart. So this is, if you're a mom, you do not want to exit the holiday season where your child is the one child that doesn't have that hot toy, right? So we're sort of creating that need. So these are different muscles and different ways that our shopping team thinks about content that we really didn't think about before we had this dedicated team. Okay, so the second tip is that when somebody goes into shopping mode, you want to let them shop, right? So what we want to do is give them all the tools necessary that when you're in that mode, let's really just feed it and let them get what they want to get. So this is the current state of content and commerce. If you look probably across 95% of publishers out in the world, this is their approach. They are creating a beautiful piece of content, and then they're putting some product modules adjacent to that content, and those are just linking off to retailers, right? And they sort of clap their hands together and say, okay, we did content and commerce is over. The problem with this, in what we saw, is that you're often leading into dead-end experiences. Before you know it, the user has like 40 tabs open on their browser, and they still haven't found what they're looking for. This is particularly evident in categories like fashion, where people have different body types, different styles, different budgets, right? So it's really hard for the editor to go and hand select 3 or 4 products and say, this is what you need to buy, right? You have to give people the tools to really filter it down. And so to combat that, we launched something called PopSugar Shop. And the idea with PopSugar Shop was when somebody is in that shopping mode, let's give them all the tools that they need to then find the product that they want before they leave our site. No sense sending them off to a site where they're going to have a bad experience, and then we also lost them, right? They've left the site. So a few things that you'll see, and if you go to popsugar.com/shop, you'll see all the stories. There's about 10% of our content is our shoppable stories. All of these stories have this sort of blue shopping icon tag in the upper left corner, so you know what you're getting into as a user. We're sort of training them where to shop. And the first thing that you see on a shoppable story is this circle call to action in the lower left. This says shop story. And so what happens is the user can scroll down the story and read it like they normally would, or they can simply tap the shop story button, and immediately this overlay appears with a grid of products. So instantaneously, you've gone from reading content, inspiration, into shop mode. And when you're in shop mode, it's just like you're on Amazon or any other e-commerce site. You're able to start to browse products. There's a couple other things that you'll see. One is at the top here is a search bar. So I was looking at an article about wrap skirts. I clicked on the shop story and I saw a grid of products, but I have a little bit of a budget, so I'm going to filter down that list. So we're now looking at wrap skirts under $200, and this overlay products, all the products refreshed to just show those products which fit your budget. If you wanted to say blue wrap skirts, right, you can continue to refine as you go. Then as you scroll down, we introduce different modules. So remember, you're in shopping mode now. So you want related products, you want inspiration. So what we're also doing is pulling in modules where you can see related products on popsugar.com. So different stories that we've written that include wrap skirts, or different Instagram influencers that we're seeing feature wrap skirts, right? So it's constantly inspiring you to continue to shop. And then you can drill all the way down to a product page. So all of this is being powered through the ShopStyle API, which is a publicly available API that we've used to build out the product. And by the time the user gets to this point, they're pretty qualified, and that's a very qualified lead that we're now sending off to the retailer. So the propensity to purchase is much higher, and the commissions that we're making in return are that much better. The user had a great experience because they didn't just get shoveled off somewhere where they then got lost. They were really able to use all these tools to find the product that they wanted to buy. Okay, the third tip is data. So this is like the most overused buzzword at every conference, but I'm going to talk about a few different types of data that we have found to be super helpful. The first is what we call acceleration data. So we, about a year ago, launched a tool called TrendRank. And the focus on TrendRank is to help us identify topics before they become trending. So there's an element of predictive marketing here. And the way that this works is that we're following hundreds of publishers, probably everybody in this room. And every 15 minutes, we go out to Facebook and we grab your most recent 250 stories. When we do that, we record your social engagements tied to those stories. We do machine learning to look at what the story is about and then what category that falls into. So if it's a story about glow-in-the-dark hair, we would categorize it as beauty. Once we have a few data points, we're able to really understand the acceleration of that content, whether it's that piece of article or a specific topic or a brand for that matter. And we can really understand what are these topics that we think will be popular, what do we think is sort of a flash in the pan that's sort of here now and gone tomorrow. And all of this data helps us inform that content strategy that we use for our shopping team. So here's an example of the top rising topics within beauty. You'll see that there's certain product lines that are featured. So Fenty Beauty, which is Rihanna's product line, was the fastest accelerating topic at the time that we pulled this data. You'll see a trend sort of on the right there called squiggle lips. So this is a trend that a lot of beauty publishers were writing about. And so what we did is created shopping content where we hook them again with that trend and then show them the products they need to buy to really get that trend. You can look in a variety of categories. So home is another one. What we saw here were monogram products were rising. So it's a good time to create content around what are the best monogrammed items that you could get for your home. Another big trend that we see in the data, which you see 4 or 5 of these topics are about small space living. And so this is a big trend, particularly with our audience, where they're trying to figure out how to make their small spaces feel bigger and what are the hacks to do so. So again, this content is informing that content strategy. And then in the fashion example, what we saw here, this was in mid-September when we pulled this, and we saw that Halloween vintage costumes were accelerating. So it also helps to inform the seasonality and when you might write about something. We probably wouldn't have written about Halloween items until mid-October, but we got it from a month back because we saw that there was something there. Another piece of data or source of data for us is influencer-driven data. So the sister product of TrendRank is what we call Retail Rank. And these are both two tools that we make available to our brand partners, and we obviously use them internally as well. So Retail Rank is based on 20,000 Instagram influencers, where we've developed technology that helps us understand what they're posting about, so the products, the brands, the retailers, and we can slice all of the data based on those different things. We also pull in data for those posts, all 20,000 influencers. Every day we're pulling their posts, and out of the Instagram API, we're able to pull the number of posts, the impressions, the comments, the likes, and then we do some of our own math to create engagement scores and frame the community. So this is an example of a retailer report where we can sit down with somebody like Nordstrom and say, if you think about the 20,000 influencer people across Instagram, here are the products and brands that they're focused on that drive to Nordstrom that we sell on Nordstrom. And so this data we can use to really figure out and partner on a content strategy. You can also do this at the brand level. So this is looking at an Adidas report, and what we're seeing here is similar metrics, but the one addition here is we're able to see what other expand the reach of our content or to introduce to Adidas to help drive their business for influencer programs. This is another way that we use the data. So this is looking at Sephora. So what we'll do is we'll sit down with Sephora and we'll say, you'll RFP us, 5 or 6 times this quarter, and we'll respond to those initiatives. But aside from those specific initiatives, let's look at what the data tells us, and let's create more agile shopping content just solely focused on the data. So we'll take the data, and then we'll create these shoppable native posts for them, which are, again, not informed by what their marketing team wants to talk about, but more what we're seeing across Instagram. And these are performing very well. And then the last source of data is first-party data. So everybody in the room has first-party data. And a few ways that we use it from a shopping angle. One is seasonality. So we're always surprised at how early people have interest in these sort of seasonal topics like holiday. In this case, right now, this is last year's data, but mid-October is when people are really starting to pick up and think about the holidays, right? So you don't want to wait until December to start creating this content. Prime time data. So what we do here is we look at the peak time, so day of week and time of day for any topic. And what we see are, for example, kid shopping peaks on Sunday at 8 or so p.m., hard to see, 8:23 p.m. And so the thought here is that mom has spent all weekend with her kids. She just put them to bed. She's sitting down, probably has a glass of wine, and she's like, okay, now I gotta buy them the things that they're either outgrown or that we're out of. And so there's a big spike there. And then for beauty shopping, we see Friday morning at 10-something a.m. And this is, people are thinking about the weekend, thinking about what they're going to wear, right? So they're thinking about, how to put together those looks. This type of data is really helpful for our social strategy and how we promote the content that we create. So you can count that every Sunday night around this time, we're pushing out all of our kid shopping content on Facebook and other platforms. We also look at the referral data. So we see very different interests and purpose based off of where people are coming from. So this is our Pinterest referrals. They're largely focused on hacks. These are the top Pop Sugar shop stories. And you can see almost all of them. The ones that we have here are all focused on different hacks people are trying to figure out. On the Facebook side, people care a little bit more about the celebrities. So again, these are the top Pop Sugar shop stories for people coming to Pop Sugar from Facebook. And then on search, it's people really looking for gifts. We see a ton of success creating content for all types, gifts for 2-year-olds, gifts for 3-year-old girls, gifts for your best friend, gifts for your grandma, gifts for your stepmom. There's like a million different ways that you can slice that, and people are searching for that all day long on Google. So we're seeing a lot of success there. And then audience segmentation is also something that we're really starting to understand, which is we're looking at people who are interested in a certain topic. So in this case, they're interested in Target. These are people who consume a lot of content about whenever we write about Target. And what we can see are the other interests that they want or that they're interested in. And so this changes the conversation really when we sit down with Target and we say, here's how we can help you best. When we write about your product, you're reaching these types of consumers. So let's really lean into affordable decor or some of these topics that we think we can hook them with. We know that they're Target shoppers and really love your brand. Okay, number 4, focus on retailers with seamless commerce, generous return policies, and great imagery. So as publishers, there's thousands of e-commerce sites where you can be pulling products from, right, and linking out to. But there is a science to who you choose to work with. So this is the gold standard. This is the absolute best case scenario where we write a piece of content, somebody can tap the shop story, they see the products, they tap the product, and instantly it opens up their Amazon app, and they're on the product page ready to click out. And we all know that Amazon has very high conversion rates once you hit this page. So not all retailers have this experience, unfortunately. Amazon has a great reach with their app. Probably most people in this room have this app. And they've just mastered the checkout process. So Amazon is a great partner. Images are really important because images, in a lot of ways, are what get people to click from social into the site. And you would be surprised at how many of these sort of high-end fashion retailers who have been around for years provide us with product images which are either on a mannequin or they're like somebody's head's cut off and it's a white background. Just really not enticing imagery at all. But again, this is Amazon. Amazon's providing, is really thinking through that whole journey for the consumer and understanding that they need to spend some money creating great photography because that'll help publishers like us pull people into the site. So it's probably no surprise that these are our top retail partners, and you can see the common themes here are customer service and great user experience. Certainly Nordstrom is known for their customer service. I know a lot of our users will buy a product from Nordstrom because they know that there's a generous return policy, and it's not going to be a fight to try and haggle to return the product. Okay, number 5, this is a super easy one where you don't need an engineering team, but everybody should be doing this one, which is collaborating on social. So every time that we create content about a brand and we're pushing people to buy your product, we reach out to that brand and either their PR teams or their social teams, and we tell them, we send them the links to this content, and more often than not, do they share it. And so what's great about this is that they're sharing it to people who are already predisposed to love their brand. Right, so this is it's like free marketing for us, and it's great for the retailer, so everybody wins. So this is just a low-hanging fruit opportunity for everybody to jump on. Okay, number 6, eventize the shopping experience. It's number 6 of 7, so there's one more after this. So we've been doing a live holiday gift guide now this will be our 7th year, and we really build this up as a massive shopping event amongst our consumer base. And we start marketing about 45 days prior to the event. The event happens in early December. Over the last couple of years, we've migrated this to Facebook Live, where we've just seen great reach expansion. And we bring in celebrities. We go through sort of exclusive gifts that we market to this audience in advance that will be revealed at the event. So not only is it a great place for people to go and learn about products to buy for the holiday shopping season, and we're driving commerce here, but we're also selling advertisers into the stream as well. So it's sort of dipping into both pockets, if you will. And then the last one, which is my favorite, is always look for opportunities to drive immediacy and remove friction. And so we just recently, we're about 6 weeks into it, launched a product called Must Have It. And you can find this on our site. It's very easy to sign up. Everybody has SMS on their phone, so nobody needs to download an app. And all you need to do is give us your phone number, give us your credit card, and we will send you a product with a description that's curated by our editors once a day. If you like it and you want to buy it, you just type yes, hit reply, and the product will show up at your doorstep within a week. So we've done a lot of testing here, different price points, different product lines or categories, and very high conversion rates, because if you think about it, somebody's just out of the blue getting a text with a pretty cool product, a great description, and if they don't want it, they can ignore it, but if they want it, they just type 3 letters and they bought the product. So our next test is going to be on Friday nights at midnight. We're going to see if we can get some people off guard. Just joking. But this is a really great way to just remove friction from that shopping experience. Okay, so to wrap it up, a few takeaways here. Okay, so first, publishers who efficiently connect content and commerce will reap the benefits. So the key emphasis here is efficiently, and not from your internal operations, that's important, but from the user standpoint. Really think about what's most efficient from the user to get from point A to point B, and you'll win. Shopping mode, so you want to feed the beast. When somebody goes into that mode, you want to respect that they're now in shopping mode and give them the tools that they need to make a purchase, right? You don't want to just send them off to some bad experience that you really have no control over. 3, there's a lot of data out there, and you can constantly optimize. Some of the data that we're using is publicly available data from Facebook, influencers on Instagram, as well as our first-party data. There's many more ways to take this, second-party deals, so on and so forth, but we're finding a lot of success there. Find the right retail partners who make shopping seamless for consumers. Remember, as publishers, you get to choose who you work with on the retail side. And so you really want to think about which retail partners are going to be most advantageous for your consumers. Don't just go to any random e-commerce site that has a horrible sign-up, bad return policy, because that's just going to be a bad experience for your user. So the better the retail partner, the better it is for your user. And then lastly, to the extent that you're in a position to do so, use technology to really try and prompt those impulse purchases, because people are always in shopping mode, particularly this demographic. And so if you can catch them at the right time, with the right experience, they're going to convert.
Chris, thank you very much. That was right on point. Thank you.